So, today we're having a small chat and an interview talk with Ugla Hauksdóttir. She's the director of the film SEALSKIN, which will screen in the children's and youth film section. It's a short film. And you have been doing short films before, of course, and you also were involved in the series Trapped and Hannah in 2019 and 20, as far as I read. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but
yes,
that's right. Okay, and it's maybe you can, in the beginning, you can tell us a little bit about the story. I mean, I don't know Icelandic fairy tales or saga, and and there was just a small bit of a fairy tale in the film. So, what was there before? Is it like an old fairy tale, old Icelandic fairy tale, and was it like the basis? You kind of developed the script, or what came first?
Sure. So it is inspired by an Icelandic folk tale. We have this really big collection of folk tales, and I was reading quite a few of them. It's sort of like short stories, like very small. Sometimes it's just like a single moment, you know, an encounter with an elf, or an encounter with a sea creature, or you know, ghosts. There's all types of stories, and so you know, it's interesting. The writing process is quite complex, and sometimes you sit and you're trying to come up with a great idea, and it just doesn't happen. With this one, it was a really organic process. I literally read the short story, and then I threw it away, and I sat down, and the script sort of just came out of me in sort of one go. And after writing the first draft, it actually didn't change that much until it kind of came to its final form. So there was something very organic about the process itself. But the folktale itself is actually read in the short film, so it's not a direct translation of the folktale. I was interested in sort of taking a you know, it's a modern take on the folktale, and it's very much centered on, it's sort of a portrait of a daughter and of a little girl and her father, and they live alone in this kind of secluded house by the sea, and the film takes place in one day, and it's what sort of sparks the journey of our little girl, who is our protagonist, is that she senses that day sorrow in her father that she doesn't understand. And so it kind of pushes her on this journey to try to unravel, you know, this kind of very complex emotion of her father. And in the process of discovering what is the root of his sorrow, she discovers the root of that emptiness that she feels herself inside. So it's a very intimate portrait of sort of a coming of age of a little girl who is sort of taking, I guess, that step. You know, she's 5 years old, and that's sort of that age when you're becoming more aware of the world and of yourself as an individual in that world, and you start to sort of read more into that complex inner life of your parents. And yeah, it's so it's inspired by a folk tale, but very much a different take.
As you said, I mean, it's a coming-of-age story of a small 5-year-old little girl called Sol, and I found the setting you chose, and I mean the really beautiful color, and it's very somber, kind of intimate setting, and I found this really, I mean, it's kind of tugs you into the story as well. You're right into it from the beginning. And how did you find the cast, the little girl and the father for that?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is definitely finding such a young actress. And we did an open call. We had probably around 30 submissions. And these were, you know, children from age 5 up to age 10. And some of them had some theater background, but a lot of them were just sort of interested or kind of more extroverted characters who enjoy this kind of role play. And we brought in, the first thing we did in the casting process, we brought in sort of our favorite 10 young actors, and we sort of played a game with them in a room. And so it was really sort of this, just me and the casting director kind of observing, you know, where did our eye go? Who was the most spontaneous? Who kind of reacted to direction? And it was just a game, so they kind of felt very comfortable in the space. And we had a few girls that were really exciting talent, but I just couldn't take my eyes off Bríet Sofley. She just had that spark for me. And she, you know, the film is personal for me in some ways, like the image of the Indian hat and the underwear, like that's an image from my childhood. That's who I was, and I'm an only child. And I think I also saw something of myself in Bríet. And the next thing we did, we brought her back for a camera rehearsal to see how she would respond, if she would kind of shut down when there was the camera, because we wanted the film to feel very intimate. So, you know, it would have to be a really close collaboration between her and Marcus, who is the cinematographer. And she was very comfortable in front of the camera, and she loved the play of it. And she was able to take blocking directions. And, you know, we have a quite difficult moment in the film when she walks out of bed, and it's this long shot where she's basically walking towards camera, and to ask a child to not look into the camera, that on its own, it's quite a challenge. And so that we did 17 takes of that, and it was a challenge, but we got it. And I think that she's a very smart child, and she was 7 years old when she played in the film. And I think she just really was very smart about understanding what we were doing. And she understood the story. She understood the subtext of the story. And her parents, who were there on set, you know, not so much just kind of as a support system for her, they spoke about the film a lot at home and about the character and what actually happened. And she was fully aware of the fact that the mom had died. So the third thing we did was we cast Björn Thors, who was the father in the film, and he's a known actor in Iceland, sort of one of the more known actors here. And it was important for us to test their chemistry. And so we played with improvisation, and we did sort of like the mirror exercises where it was kind of fun and playful. And he has 4 children himself. And so I think he was really capable of making a very kind of a comfortable space for Bríet. But I also think he's kind of a serious guy and kind of mysterious. So there was kind of this like thing where he's really gentle and kind, but also he has this kind of like edge where she was like, didn't quite know who he was. And so it created like a nice layer to the relationship. And I think that we managed to capture that in the film as well.
And I also would like to know where you did the shooting. I think it was in Iceland, I assume. And
yes.
Where did you shoot these scenes and the house? I mean, were they near together, or was it a different setting, one for the house and one for the scenes at the beach?
So actually, the house is 2 different houses mixed together. I was looking for a very specific, a lot of texture. I wanted color. I wanted, wallpaper. I wanted depth in the production design. So we ended up mixing 2 houses together, and it was quite complex to make it feel seamless because the houses were very, very different. But I hope it works. And then the beach was right outside one of the houses. But it's a different beach that we see in the beginning and the end of the film than the one we see through the window when she kind of goes into her dream.
And what season was it when you shot the film?
It was in June. So it was sort of the warmest month in Iceland. But, it is Iceland, so we don't really have that kind of real summer. So it was quite cold. And shooting that final sequence with that child on the beach in nothing but pajamas was really difficult, actually. It was a lot to ask, but she was so heroic. But yeah, it was a challenge. And in the middle of the night too, so she had to kind of flip her hours around.
Yeah, I guess that you wrapped her up a lot during the scenes and kept her warm, of course. So, I mean, how was it for you? I mean, you've done lots of I mean, being involved and within the series and directing series. How was it for you, like to come back to do a short film again, or maybe I don't know about your future plans? Maybe you can tell us a bit about that as well. Maybe going to develop a feature film next. I don't know. So just let us know what was it like? Kind of, did you want to have a challenge again to do like a short film, like to get away from series, or was it just an episode in between and you're going to return to series again?
It's sort of a combination of many things. I graduated from Columbia University in New York, and the short film that I did as a graduation film there was not something that I wrote myself. And working on series is incredible experience, but of course you're always sort of working towards someone else's vision. And I think I was just really craving to go back to sort of like, well, what pushed me to be a filmmaker and what are the stories that I want to tell? So it was really quite, it's more challenging to do your own films, I think, because it's something like the story is quite personal to me, and so it becomes much more precious in a way, and you get more critical of yourself as well. But for me, it was beautiful to take sort of a step back and also to go back to my home country, because I live in New York and I've been working all over the world. So it was really quite precious to go back to Iceland and do something that's sort of coming from my own heart, and sort of just connecting back with my country and my roots.
So you're in Iceland right now, or are you in New York?
I'm in Iceland right now. I've been here since March, yes, for COVID. Yes.
So what about future plans? Maybe you can tell us, if you like to, a little bit about what are your future plans, like which projects are coming up, like are they your own project you're going to develop yourself, write the script as well, or are you working on the script or direct for somebody else?
I'm currently, I'm waiting to go to London. I'm going to be going to London after in the new year to start shooting a big TV series for Amazon. I'm directing 2 episodes of a show called The Power, and I have an agent in Los Angeles, so I'm receiving quite a lot of material, feature films that are looking for directors. But I think it's exciting to get so many kind of offers, but you have to make sure to stay true to your own voice. And so I've been sort of taking this time the last few months while we've been waiting for us to get the world to get a grasp on COVID, to just develop my own writing. And so I'm working on a couple of, I've completed 1 feature film. I'm working on a few different ones, but I think that the great challenge is just sort of like, what should that first film be? Because it's such a big step for you as a filmmaker. So I'm just taking my time. I'm not rushing it. But making SEALSKIN was definitely, I felt, for me, finding my path again, my own voice again. Yeah.
Do you think this is maybe just a last question? Do you think this maybe had to do also because you've returned to Iceland, so you've returned to your roots as well?
I think so. Yes. I think also being because I've lived in the US for 15 years, so that's half my life, and I think that when you've spent so much time living abroad, you see the beauty in things that you found mundane when you return, and so I think there's a lot of stories that are still left to be told in Iceland, and I want to make sure that even though I'm kind of having all these ties with Hollywood, which is very strange for me, being this, from Iceland, tiny population, tiny country. I find it very important to try to find that balance between, supporting the film industry in my country as well. and it's growing a lot, and we are producing incredible feature films and incredible series as well. So I'm really just excited to be a part of that movement, and yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, I've been working for a couple of years now for the festival here, for the Nordic Film Days in Lübeck, and it's like, from the beginning, I found it amazing how much talent you have in a really kind of small country, and how much like also when the series became more and more popular, like very great, like Trap, for example. I mean, great series which have been developed and shown, and also like the films. I mean, we had so many Icelandic films in the program again this year, like exciting documentaries or great feature films in the competition. So it's it's I don't find it that astounding anymore, because I see you for now. So I think it's like you kind of, I don't know, are maybe rooted in the Icelandic soil so well that you kind of develop so many great stories, and so different stories as well. So yeah, we are really looking forward to what's coming up next, especially from you, of course, and hopefully we'll have you in the program. Well, you've said it, with a feature film or another short film or a documentary, whatever. So stay with us, and yeah, we are looking forward to seeing what's coming up next, and all the best for the next projects, and yeah, I hope to talk to you another time and in the future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be a part of the program.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the talk. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.